Cheesemaking Made Easy by Diane Verrilli. I'm going to be going over how to make a soft cheese called paneer, which is an Indian cheese, also called queso blanco. You can't always find these at the supermarket. And if you're like me, you're probably tired of paying those high prices at the supermarket. So this is a good cheese to make, especially this time of year during the fall. So it's good temperature when your room temperature is about 72 degrees. So this is a good time to do this. What you'll need to make this cheese is pasteurized milk, just 1 gallon. You can get this at the store or you can pasteurize it yourself. Now make sure to get pasteurized and not ultra pasteurized. Ultra pasteurized will not turn into cheese, which is depressing if you like organic cheeses. Next, you'll need some equipment. This equipment must be stainless steel or wood, no plastic. You'll need a colander, a big pot to boil the milk in. You'll also need a bowl, a slotted spoon for sure, a wooden spoon, and either a dairy or candy thermometer. So that will get you going. And in the picture, there's a toaster, and you do not need the toaster. Besides that equipment, other things you'll need are some ingredients. You'll need a 1/4 cup of white vinegar, or you can use 8 tablespoons of lemon juice and something called butter muslin, which is just like cheesecloth, but it's a tighter weave, so it's basically a type of cheesecloth. And you'll definitely want to use this because the type of cheese you're making will leak through regular cheesecloth, so make sure to get the butter muslin. It's very important. The next thing you'll do is you'll need to sterilize all the equipment in boiling water. This includes all the stainless steel equipment, the thermometer, and the butter muslin must all be boiled for at least 5 minutes. So make sure you do that because you don't want to make anybody sick. It's easy to make people sick with cheese, especially if you don't sterilize your items. After that, the next step is to pour the milk right in the pot, and you'll be heating the milk up to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. So make sure you stir the milk. You're going to have to stir quite often and keep your eye on the milk. Continue to stir so the milk doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan because that can kind of put brown chunks in the cheese. So stir your milk continuously. You can use that wire whip. It's pretty good way to stir, or a wooden spoon works as well. And make sure to keep your eye on the milk. If you turn away just for a few minutes or even 30 seconds, you could turn around and have boiled over milk spilled all over your stovetop and cause quite a mess, as you can see in the photo below. And it's kind of a pain to turn on, so don't turn your back on the milk so you don't end up with a mess. Anyway, once you get up to 180 degrees Fahrenheit on your thermometer, it's time to add either the 8 tablespoons of lemon juice, or you can use the 1/4 cup of white vinegar. So this will cause the curds and whey to form. So the curds begin to form. They're the little white blobs, and the whey is it looks like cloudy liquid at first, but eventually it'll become more yellow looking, and the curds and whey continue to separate, as you can see in the picture. But continue stirring and continue keeping your temperature at 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, while you're doing this, you can sneak away for a moment and put your sterilized butter muslin inside the colander, inside of a bowl, and probably the best place for this would be your sink. So you'll have this ready because soon, after 10 minutes at 180 degrees, you'll be ready to put the curds into the butter muslin, which is in the colander. So you can see the curds are starting to get bigger white blobs, and then the whey is definitely looking more yellow in color. Continue to stir and continue to monitor the temperature. So once you've hit the 10 minutes, you can then remove the pot off of the heat source, just off to the side, and then you'll be removing your curds gently from the pot. Use your slotted spoon to remove the curds gently and place them into the butter muslin, which is inside of the colander. You should have them close to each other so you don't drop any of the curds. They're very precious. So you'll continue to spoon the curds out into right on top of the butter muslin, which is in your colander. So you can see from the picture, I'm about to place it in there. And just keep piling the curds on top of each other. Be really gentle because you don't want the curds to break apart. So they are very fragile. I know you don't think that they are, but wait till you start doing this and they'll start falling apart. So just be very careful. You'll eventually get all your curds inside your butter muslin, and then you can start picking up the edges and twisting them. And then you'll want to twist it up pretty good. And what I usually end up doing, I find it easiest, is if I just tie them to the faucet. So what you do is twist it up, and then I forgot to tell you, you need to rinse after you tie up the curds. You need to rinse them in lukewarm water to get all the whey out of there. And then after you rinse the curds in lukewarm water, then go ahead and tie the butter muslin to the top of your faucet or wherever you want to hang it from, because you'll need to allow the curds to drain for 2 to 3 hours, and you want to make sure it's room temperature at your house, which is 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's why fall, spring, and even the winter is a good time to make this cheese. You would not want to do it in the middle of summer when it's really hot in Denver, and especially if you don't have air conditioning. So this is definitely a good cheese to make this time of year in the fall. Once your cheese is done, you can unwrap it from the butter muslin, and it kind of looks like a cauliflower blob, but it's just all the curds are all stuck together. So you can cut them up. You can cut your big hunk of curds in half. You can freeze half. You can store the other half in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. I always have to eat some immediately with some fruit, as you can see. So I always suggest to serve it with some fruit to your friends, and it's quite good. Now, this type of cheese does not melt easily, but you can use it in recipes. Saag paneer is the spinach Indian dish where it either has tofu or chunks of cheese in it. So this type of cheese is the type of cheese that's in a lot of Indian dishes. So just make sure, though, you're going to store your curds in plastic wrap, either freezing or storing in the refrigerator. So 2 weeks in the fridge is about all it will last. If you're interested in learning more about cheese making, two of my favorite books are listed here. They're both by Ricky Carroll, who is known as the Queen of Cheese. So for further reading, one of my favorite books is Cheesemaking, Made Easy. And they're both by Ricky Carroll, both these books. And any other information you'd like, you can get online from New England Cheesemaking Company. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and go ahead and make some cheese.